1, 2, is it working good? Hello? Nothing there? Hello, hello. Testing 1, 2. Good evening, everyone. It is 7 o'clock. I'd like to call the meeting to order. If you all agree, I need a motion to adopt the agenda. Moved by Councillor DeVoe, seconded by Councillor Como. All those in favor? Against? Motion carried. Number 3, declaration of conflict of interest. Are there any conflicts tonight with the items? No? If not, we are up to number 4, presentations, the audited financial statements, 22-23, Grant Thornton. Good evening, everyone. So you have in front of you, you can go to the first page. This is the consolidated financial statements for March 31st, 2023. We also prepared the non-consolidated statements, and you will see inside the municipality, and we use that to report to the Municipal Affairs Department. We already went through the consolidated reports and as well as the non-consolidated with your audit committee. So I won't go into much detail, but essentially these financial statements are in combinations of all the funds from the municipality. So if you go to the first page, we have the independent auditor's report, where we express our opinion and we indicate that we have a clear, there is nothing there that changes the utilization of the report. Next is the opinion paragraph. The first 2 paragraphs indicate the opinion itself. So the first indicates that it is that we made a verification of the statements for March 31st, and then that's our official statement that, in our opinion, the financial statements present fairly the financial position of the municipality of Clare as at 31st of March 2023. And under basis for opinions, the basis for our opinions, we indicate the basis of what we use to give our statements. So the audits, the verification usually accepted by the Canada. So we accept that everything is in place to be able to give our opinion. Under other matters, I can just note that the pages 24 to 29 are presented for additional information only and are not required by the
Standard.
Canadian norm. Just to go through some of the responsibilities, the responsibility for the direction and governance, it is their task to prepare these audit statements, and they put in place an internal control to assure that the financial data is accumulated correctly during the year. Our direction also looks at the capacity of the municipality to continue its exploitation, and then the audit committee and the council are responsible to manage the operations of the municipality. The auditor's responsibilities, which is ourselves, our responsibility is to give you an opinion. So our objectives to give this reasonable opinion, we use the reasonable insurance, which is a code of insurance. It is not guarantees that there are no errors in the statements, but we looked at all the transactions during the year and we identify and evaluate the risks to the municipality. We obtain an appreciation of the internal control, but we do not express an opinion on the internal management and the accounting policies that you adopted. So at the end of the day, we have not found anything that changes our opinion. So if we go to page 3, this letter just describes that at the end of the day, it is the direction who takes responsibilities for these statements. If we go on to the next page, on page 4, we find the consolidated statement of operation. You see all the expenses and revenues for the year. If we start with the budget at left, it is a bit different from what you are probably used to. To be conform with the norms, we need to add and to subtract certain figures. So we add the amortization because it's not in the budget, and we also add the capital budget, and we remove elements that are third parties. So I will go through a few points in the results compared to last year. If you look at the revenues, you have budgeted for $12,250,000. The actual was $9,874,000 compared to $10,574,000 last year. So it went down by about $700,000. So in the taxes, it's close to what you have budgeted, but in this figure, we remove the third parties that I just mentioned. So it would be the school board, the tax reductions, and fire area rates, etc. The tax rate has not changed, but we have seen an evaluation or an increase in the evaluations. So the deed transfer tax went up, and there was an increase in the 0.5% in the deed transfer tax. Again, if you look at other revenues from own sources, it came to $630,200 compared to $435 last year. You have received a few money or grants from ACOA that was not budgeted for, so $25,000 for the kitchen, $25,000 for the engineering and the concept rate fees, and everything that went to do with the infrastructures. So if we go to unconditional transfers from other governments, it came to $240,000, a reduction from last year, but it is only on what you budgeted, which was $257,000. So it went down by $215,000 because of the payments to the financial capacities grant that you received last year. Conditional transfers. There it went down by 1.6 million from last year, and it is a lot less than what you budgeted, but it's in that figure that we find the matters on capital budget. So in the capital budget, you budgeted for $400,000 for the internet project, 1.5 for the health center, 1.3 million for the Clare Health Center. So there were projects that have not started yet. Apart from that, if you compare to last year you had received $1.8 million from the government and $710,000 from the municipality for the soccer field. So if we look at the total revenue of $9,874,000 compared to $10,574 last year, it only went down by about $700,000. So if we look at the expenses, the first one is the general government services. There is not much change from last year on the budget. So I will go to protective services. Here it went to 2.1 million compared to 1.8 million last year. It increased by 282,000, very close to what you budgeted. Here, it's the contract with the RCMP that went up by 136,000, and the expenses for the correctional center that increased by 58,000. Then the next one, transportation services and environmental health. There is nothing out of the ordinary in these categories. So if you go to public health and welfare services, about 1 million compared to 842 last year, so it increased by 187,000. So it's in this category that we find the activities of the health center. There were more doctors and more employees. In environment services, it increased by 180,000 increase. So here we find the expenses for the floodline mapping project. The next category, recreation and cultural services, 1.8 million compared to 1 million last year, so it increased by 103,000. In this category, we see expenses that for services from ACOA, and also the soccer field that completed this year. This is the first year of amortization in this category. So we have an annual surplus of 217,000 compared to 2.7 million last year. A big change there, but that's because of the increase in your
assets.
In your assets. And then you see all assets. So this year there were less that affected the surplus. There is no gain on the disposal of assets. So we are starting with the accumulated surplus at the beginning of the year, and plus the surplus, and we have the accumulated surplus at the end of the year of 19 million. If you go to page 5, it shows the assets and liabilities of the municipality. The financial assets are those that are easily converted to cash. Just to go through what changed compared to last year, the cash unrestricted went down by about 1.5 million, so 4 million. We expended more in capitals compared to 7 million last year. The receivables, the taxes, 360,000 this year, and with the rate that went up, we expected the income to go up. There were not many other changes in the assets, so we have a total of 6.5 million compared to 8.2 million last year. If you go through the financial liabilities, the first one, payables and accruals, we have an increase of 188,000, so 811,000 for the year. The majority of that was because there were a lot of bills at the end of the year that had to do with the health center. So it's just a thing of timing of when the bills were received. The next one, asset retirement. This is a new obligation related to the immobilization services. But this project meant to identify all the assets of the municipality that either had an obligation to close the asset or that had something material in the active that had to be remediated in the future. So with that, we had to calculate the future costs of either close or reduce the asset. So the actual value now is the active of the asset of 288,000. The next, long-term debt went down by what you pay in capital, so there is no change there. deferred revenue at 1 million compared to 836,000 last year. The increase here is the grant that we had for the grant that you have received. This money can only be used after the 1st of April 2023, so at the end of the year it had to be deferred. Apart from that, there is 478,000, which is the gas tax revenue that was not used yet.
Financial assets for a total of 4.2 million compared to 4 million last year, augmented by 344,000. If we go to the next category of non-financial assets, the first category is tangible capital assets from 30,528,000 compared to 13,500,000 last year, which increased by 1.5 million. That 1.5 million, some of the footnotes because of the health center and the building for the transfer station of 303,000 and the fire hall at Hectanuga for 310,000 and around 200,000 in different lands, and then other 278,000 put for the asset retirement obligations. So when we recognized the process, there was a part that was active at the asset itself, and then there was an amortization of 570,000 for accumulated. There was 1 million from last year, other non-financial assets, 1.5 million to finish the at the university, and which is if the amortization is based on the number of years for the allocation, this gives us a surplus of 19 million compared to 19 million to 300,000 last year. If you go to page 6, the verification of the net, here we start with the annual plus the
we're looking at the reduction and increase of assets, and it gives us a reduction of net assets of 1,571,000, and this will always reduce in the year that we spend a lot on capital. So if you go on page 7, the treasurer's report looked at the incoming and outcoming of funds, and at the end of the year we had a surplus or an amount of $5,790,000. So I will not go into the details in the next pages, but you have diminished your cash amount by 1.6 million. So everything has been invested in capital. Next, if you go to the next pages, these are notes that accompany these statements. We have already gone through the notes with the audit committee, so I can go through a few of them. If you go to page 10, here we describe the new policy, the accounting policy, with the other assets and the new obligation. I will go into more details on a few of them. So if we go to note 2 on page 13, you see here more details on the asset retirement obligations. So the obligation for the municipality itself is to remove the reserves on lands and wharves, and combine materials like asbestos in certain buildings. So as mentioned, we need to calculate the value, the future value, to clean up or close these activities, and then bring the balance to what it would be today. So the future value that we calculated is 589,000 with a rate of 4.1 per annum, and the value that we recognized is 276,000. If we go on to page 16, the note 8 will explain the obligations that are in place. There is something in place that obliges the municipality to do something. The first one regards the organic waste collection, and the World Acadian Congress did not change from last year. But the next one I would like to note, the Clare Health Center expansion. The municipality entered in a contract for the extension of the health center. The contract is for 4.2 million plus HST with Red Jack. As of March 31st, 2023, 314,000 were spent on this project. Then at the end of the year, the municipality obtained approval from the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing to obtain a temporary borrowing of 7 million for this project. And the rest of the notes, there were not many changes from last year. I will not go through them unless you have questions. Thank you for that. Are there any questions or comments to the council? It's nice to see that we are still in good position. Thank you. Do you have any comments, Stefan? No? If not, thank you for the report. It's very well.
This brings us to number 5, adoption of the minutes. 5.1 of the July 2019 regular council meeting. I don't know if you read those. Somebody want to make the motion to adopt this, proposed by Conseiller Common and seconded by Councillor DeVoe. All those in favor? Against? Motion carried. And then the adoption of minutes for September 6th, we have our council and committee meeting. Do you have anything, errors or omissions for this one? If not, proposed by Deputy Warden Potier, seconded by Councillor Doucette. All those in favour? Against? Motion carried. This business arising from previous council meetings. We don't have anything under this item. Number 7 is the Warden's activity report. So I'll give you my report, if you allow me to do so. This is a bit longer. This is September. On July 30th, I went to a parade of the Acadian Festival. 4 of us were driving the float. It was a good work that was being done on our float. The August 2nd, I met a tourism group from Louisiana to discuss links between our 2 communities and the CMA 2024. There were people from Louisiana who were here. So we spent some time with them, and they liked it. They left here with good ideas. On August 3rd, I went to there was a meeting to recognize the contributors to the golf club, and I was able to talk about the collaboration between the foundation of the municipality of Clare to explain our relationship between them and us and how it works, and that was good. On August 3rd, there was a wine and cheese during the Canadian Festival. It was a nice event. On 21st of August, I went to a special meeting from the CDNA to discuss a new orientation of the general management of this organization. On the 25th of August, I went to a meeting, regular from the meeting of the CDNA. On the 29th of August, I went to a regular meeting of the Acadian Villa, our first one at the new site, which was not open officially at that moment, but it was near to, the opening was there. It was nice to see of the work that had been done. On 30th of August, I met people with the Consulate of France and the SNA Acadian to explore opportunities of collaboration with twinnings between the municipalities and cities of France and our relationship between businesses or similarities, and this went well. On the September 6th, I went to a meeting of the REN, an oversight committee. It was nice to see everybody, which I hadn't seen for quite a while. On September 10th, I went to a meeting of the Grand Fondo Besant Marie. There was a lot of people there and bicycles that were ready to leave, and it went very well. I think over 700 participants. There was a conseiller that was ready to go also, and some volunteers. It went very nicely. On the 12th of September, there was a meeting of the councillors of Université Saint-Anne, the council, and on the 21st of September, I went to a meeting of the planification committee to finish the report that we just listened to here. On the 29th of September, I met the executive committee of CDNA, and on the 23rd of September, I went to a regular meeting of the council at the Université Saint-Anne. We have a meeting every third month. And on the 26th September, I went to the regular meeting of the Acadian Villa, where all the people were nicely installed and everybody had smiling. And it was nice to see that people are very proud of their new installation. On the 27th of September, today, I went to a meeting of the meeting with representatives of the CDNA and discuss the challenges with immigration in our area, and it went very well. That will be my report. I don't know if you have questions or comments. If not, so I'll bring us to number 8. Official statements from members of council. Are there any official presentations this evening? If not, we will go to number 9, correspondence. 9.1, the Honourable Tory Rushton, Minister of Natural Resources and Renewables.
Your concern over the stairs at Smuggler's Cove Provincial Park. Due to safety concerns, it has been determined that the stairs to the beach will not be replaced at this time. Staff will be assessing the current viewing platform and steps further to determine what improvements may be made to the current infrastructure to provide value to the visitor experience. The department will connect back with the municipality after the assessment and plan forward is determined. The goal is to ensure that visitors to Smuggler's Cove can continue to take advantage of the great views that the location provides. Regards, Tory Rushton, Minister.
Est-ce que vous avez des questions, des commentaires sur cette histoire-là? Vous savez comment?
C'est cette lettre-là qu'avez-vous répondu, hein? Avez-vous répondu à cette lettre-là?
Je pense qu'on va on va discuter plus loin sur l'agenda sur Nouvelles Affaires 12.17, mais essentiellement, on cherche le bon sillon du Conseil pour approuver la lettre en réponse à ça. Alors, si vous êtes d'accord, je peux discuter plus de ça quand on arrive à 12.17.
Parce que vous avez d'autres questions ou commentaires sur cela? Sinon,
We are at 9.2, Cody Gray, President and CEO of Louisiana Cajun Biotourism.
On behalf of Louisiana's Cajun Bayou Tourism and our Board of Directors, I would like to express my sincere gratitude for the warm welcome we received in Clare. I genuinely appreciate you and your team taking the time to meet with us and for the wonderful gifts which safely made their way back to Louisiana. This partnership holds immense significance for our organization and is aimed at reconnecting La Fourche Parish to our Acadian and Cajun roots. Our unapologetically Cajun culture is a major attraction for visitors to our area. And in order to keep this culture alive, we must educate, preserve, and promote it. While visiting Clare and the Acadian regions of Nova Scotia, the similarities between our areas became abundantly clear. From the people and the food to the attractions and experiences, there was no shortage of meaningful and impactful moments that brought everything full circle. This media mission was not about ourselves, but about our parish, our people, and our deep Acadian ties. I will always cherish the kindness and hospitality shown by you and all the others we had the privilege of meeting. I look forward to continuing our historic partnership with the municipality of Clare, the Congrès Mondial Acadien, Yarmouth at Acadian Shores, and all those who played a role in bringing our destinations together. I am genuinely excited to see where these promotions will lead and the lasting impact they will make on our destinations. Sincerely, Cody Gray, President and CEO.
Do you have any questions or comments on this item? It's nice to see that they have well received what took place here. It went well. If nothing else, we will go on to 9.3, Honorable John Lohr, Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing. This is just, I will not read the letter, but this is just to confirm by writing the project of the municipal planning and that we had received a financing from the province to go ahead with the project. So this letter is just to confirm this amount of $195,000. Questions or comments on this? It's nice to see letters like that with numbers attached. 9.4, Honorable John Lohr, again, Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing. Yes, this again is a similar letter. It has to do with our project that we are doing with the municipality of Argyle with our interpretive signs. It's to increase the number from the province of $25,000. That's what we had asked for, and that's what we have received. So again, it's just information for the council to say that the amount is confirmed. Questions or comments on this? If not, 9.5, Erica Ralston, project lead on Turning the Tide. Yes, thank you.
Areas of Nova Scotia is being able to access services. Barriers include physical access, as most communities outside the HRM lack public transportation. But barriers can also be created in the confusion about which programs are for whom and for how long. Additionally, many of the service providers function in silos and competitions separate from one another and often unaware of what is being offered by other organizations. An integrated youth site is meant to help overcome some of those barriers to youth and family access by designing and implementing solutions custom-made for the region and population being served. There is a lot of flexibility in the program to allow for innovative approaches to ensuring services reach those who need them. There are going to be 2 IYS sites per Nova Scotia health zone. At the moment, many youth service organizations across the province are developing coalitions in defining visions for IYS hubs. In the Western Zone, these organizations are hoping to develop the two sites in close partnerships to increase the likelihood of a successful proposal and a robust youth serving system. Recognizing that stable, effective, and accessible services for youth and their caregivers serve an important part of your constituencies, we formally request that you assign a municipal contact for our developing coalitions. We may seek a support letter and insights into potential locations in your municipal unit. We look forward to hearing back from you. Please see below for contact information. Sincerely, Eric.
I just wanted to know that to appoint somebody here on the to be part of this room. I will look at the people. I will don't know enough regarding the project to talk too much about it this evening, but I will talk to Erica to get more information to see exactly what they ask from our employee and where the two zones we're looking at now. I don't know where these zones are. I think it will, because of the demographics, I think it will probably be in the region of Yarmouth, and I'm curious to see where it will be located and what kind of role we can play in this. If you, I can just give a follow-up with Eric and bring it back to council later on at a future meeting. If you all agree with that, we can come with a recommendation. 9.6, Jean Gauvin, Clare Columbus Club. For members of the August, your help, financial help to installation a new roof. At the beginning of November, we will build new steps on the south, and we like to thank you as partnership to our, because we received a reduction for our groups, community groups. This amount will be for the installation of internet, because there is a lot of demand for doing this. This autumn, we have asked for the same rental that you people who want to rent our hall to see that they can. We would like to ask you to snow removal that was maintained by the municipality that was usually applied to the Veteran Center. This is for me, a Crip for Me, Dance with Helena, Lori Lynn, Christian, Senior Fun Days, and Yoga with June, and Shuffleboard, and around 300 persons meet each week. The majority of these groups meet at your center, and they will have to adapt to this new site. But I thank you to be able to help these with your help. If I can allow myself, Mr. Gauvin has approached us with his request. It is something that the message that was coming to Mr. Gauvin is that we can offer snow removal to the Columbus Club. We didn't want, because we're thinking that it might create a precedent with other organizations. This being said, since it's true that there will be a lot more people who will go there, so we accommodate us by bringing our people who rented our Veteran Center, but the location that we were charging them will also accompany their work, and it will help them to fray their openness. So here we had didn't want to create a precedent for that would create for other organizations who have other locals. Do you have any questions or comments on this one? Are you looking for an answer for this? If you don't agree with the decision, if you agree with the decision, all we need, we communicate with Mr. go over. And if you want something written down, it will be the same message that we have already communicated to him verbally. Well, I don't know what you think. So, Deputy Warden Totti, I think since we received the letter, I think we should answer him with a letter to make it more official. So, we take a motion to send a letter. If you all agree with this, this will bring us to number 10, Chief Administrative Officer's report. Thank you. If we start with the health center, during the hurricane last year, we didn't have too many damages, except something that fell. The balance was, there was no damages regarding the hurricane. The metal is supposed to arrive shortly, and we think that the building would be lifted up at the beginning of October. They assure me that everything is in place now, and the metal parts have come in, and the walls will start going up in the mid-October. This being said, we have not been not far to our date, but we changed the sequence of the work that's being done because we waited longer for the metal to arrive. There are certain things that we could start earlier than we had predicted, but it could have been worse because we concentrated on other aspects of the project. For what is the electrical, the inspection passed, so we're okay there. And I met contractors yesterday, and we said that the building between here and December, the building will be watertight, and the exterior cladding and the insulation will start at the beginning of December and will be completed at the end of December. So I think we'll be able to see what the building will look like from the exterior, and I hope that we can respect this date, that this will be completed by the end of December. We're also working on a plan. We're trying to bring the doctors in the new section of the building, even if the basement is not completely finished. The focus will be on the first floor to start to have the doctors already established in their own offices. For what is the Veterans Center at Clare, we launched a bidder's walk through on the 25th of July. The tender finished on the 23rd of August. We just received one submission. This was much above the budget we had finished it, but we finished by accepting it. Speaking with the companies that went to the bidder's brief, we thought they will deposit a submission. We just wanted to consult them to see why they didn't answer bring a tender. The reasons we received, first of all, it's true that the ending dates that was quite aggressive. For example, these are factors that were a risk for them and discouraged them to not submit a tender, answer the tender. So I'm meeting with the architects on October 3rd, which is next week, to address these comments, to revise the design and discuss certain options, how we want to proceed. Will it be lump sum contract, or would it be more like a construction manager, or another way to look at it? And I expect at the meeting of the October 1st to see what kind of strategy we can come up for this project. For the sidewalks in Meteghan,
It's another one that takes time. I spoke with the engineers today, and they had submitted their design, revised design to Public Works on September 15th, and they are still waiting for a reply. I spoke with Mr. Shand, who is the regional manager, and essentially she said it was sent to her supervisors and for approval, and she is waiting for news from them. So for the time being, the design is not approved, and we are waiting. The intention there would be that once the design is approved, it was to start the documentation to be able to make a tender call at the end of the fall, early winter, in preparation for the construction in the spring. For the extension for the sewer system in Meteghan, Sunset Road, I will speak about this at item 12.4 and 12.5. Wentworth Park, the project is going well. The resurfacing and grubbing of the trail, the drainage at the boat launch. We made a new access road to the lake, and the preparation of the cement is being done now. The lead time for the playground and the equipment took longer than planned, so we will get it later in September. So the installation will be made as soon as they arrive. For the cement, this will be at the beginning of October, and the installation of the building that will be our washrooms and picnic shelters will follow. So we hope to have this project concluded by the end of October. For the tourism project, Clare, that's our interpretive sign project. The financing has been approved except from ACOA. We have a contribution of Clare and Argyle of $30,000 each that was approved, and we have a contribution of $5,000, and the province will confirm $25,000 for this. It will be about $140,000. The request is at the minister's office. We have a new minister now, so they are in a transition phase. So those projects are stopped until the new minister is familiar with the different projects. So we don't know when it will be announced. We hope soon, so we can get that in October. The fire hall in Nectanuga, that project is going well also. We hope to have it everything completed by October. Presently, the new roof is complete. The truck bay with a new slab and doors are completed. The comfort center, which is the other part of the building, is about 60% complete. All the electrical has been inspected and passed. The chip rock is installed. So we now need to finish the kitchen, the washrooms, and the flooring. So after that, we will have essentially a new fire hall in Nectanuga. As the warden mentioned, the Grand Fondo, after 2 years, was a big success for us this year. We had 796 participants registered, 229, or about 30% of those persons came from outside the province. And with the participants, it was 55% who participated for the first time in the Grand Fondo. So that is an encouraging figure. The comments that we received were very positive. They appreciated their experience despite the fog of this year, but the articles that were written by the travel media around were also very favorable. Our beach access for Grandy Beach, nothing has changed from my report in July, so we are waiting for a reply from the province regarding that road to declare it a surplus and give it to us. For the cultural hub, I will discuss it again under new business this evening at 12.3. And finally, in financial, as of October 31st, August 31st, 2023, the municipality had 10,033,269 in revenues versus 5,420,930 in expenses, for a surplus of 4,612,339. As of August 31st again, the municipality had a balance of 5,618,528 in its operational fund, 38,858 in its capital fund, and a total reserve balance of $2,693,348. So we are always in a good financial situation. So that is my report.
Thank you for your report. Do you have any questions or comments on this report? Very well detailed. If not, we go to on number 11, committee reports. For 11.1, the building committee, Councillor Doucet. Yeah, for the month of July, there were, in July 2022, there was 25 permits issued, which gave us of 1,691,000 compared to 24, which was 750,000. There was less this year than last year in July. If we look at the August report, in 2022 there were 205 issues to a total of 39, which gave us a total of 2,498,000 compared to 26 permits in 2023 for 1,122,000. So the total for the year is now 15,183,000 compared to 12,985,000 in 2022. So we're about 2 or 3 million more this year than last year at this time in August. Thank you. Questions or comments on this report? 11.2 Audit Committee, Councillor Briancomo. The committee, the Audit Committee met with the audit on the 21st of September to examine the that was presented this evening for the financial for 2023. The audit says they said that we are in very good standing, and also the good cooperation that they have established with people in the direction of our council. The audit committee gave the municipality an opinion with no reserves, and the committee present to council the two recommendations that follow. That the surplus of $675,080 fiscal year from the operating fund to the operating reserve, and that the municipality municipality of Clare approved the audited financial statements for the municipality of the district of Clare as proposed by Grant Thornton LLP. These are two recommendations. Are there questions or comments on this recommendation? We will treat these motions in new business. If there's nothing more, we go to 11.3 Police Advisory Board, Councillor Como. Thank you. The committee, consultative committee for police met on the 25th of September 2023 with Sergeant Jeff Leblanc and Corporal Vincent Lacroix for the members of the RCMP for the detachment in Michigan. There was now 5 active members there, and one is in a maternity leave who will come back in March. and a new member, Gabriel Morin, who will start in October 2023. This new member is perfectly bilingual, and we will in the month of March session in 2023 that the ongoing research is being done on this, and there is a positive aspect that is developing in that report. The RCMP is continuing its contact with the family for the lobster fishing in Bay Sainte Marie. The RCMP continues to meet the Department of Fish, DFO, and the commercial fishermen and the autochthon fishermen. They want to respect civil rights and property. There was not the same types of incidents as usual, but there was a group composed with RCMP that are there ready to come to get implicated if need be. DFO will be much more present in the future. The Salmon River, people are driving too fast at a certain place, and Sergeant Leblanc is examining the possibility to look at this sector in order to answer to the preoccupations of the residents in this. It's also discussed an electronic speed monitor too, because these register the amount of circulation and the speed. And we hope that if we install this, that people will be motivated to reduce this equipment would be about $3,700, and it should be bought by the municipality. The equipment can be used at other places also. The municipality of Yarmouth has bought this equipment, and they got positive results from using it. For the limitations of speed limits in school zones, the sergeant confirmed that when people are present in the school, around the school, the speed should be 50 kilometers, and if the limit is already fixed at 50, it should be 30. And these rules apply 24 hours a day when students are there. There have been, for sentence university, sexual aggressions. And since 2015, none of these cases have been reported to the RCMP. Since 2020, there are 4 cases that were presented to the RCMP. The RCMP asked the people who are victim of such aggression to contact them, and the RCMP will produce if the victim wishes to have to be pursued. They said that people, the way of consentment and the way they are reported. And finally, the sergeant says that they have a statistic report from 1st of May to the 1st of September. For speeding is 110 infractions, and driving under alcohol 5, and there are other cases that are being looked. Collision of vehicles comprising the ATVs, there were 25. And this is my report. If you have questions or comments. Thank you for that report. Looks you have a very active meeting. Do you have any questions or comments on this Brian's report?
That brings us to item 12. Except for the monitor, are you looking for a discussion on the monitor? It is something that will be discussed in the future. There were no dates or when it will be discussed, but the sergeant said that it is his intention to discuss it with the council and members and the advisory committee. Deputy Warden Pache, with discussion with the Director General, there is a group that is going to NSFM, and the people who sell that product will be there, so we will try to find information at the NSFM on these monitors and the costs. Something to present to us. Yes, at the NSFM, the conference in the fall is also a trade show, and the companies with this company is Absolute Traffic Services, and they have a kiosk at that conference. So the conference will be in November, so it is something we will look at in late November or early December, and I will bring updated information on this, and we will take a decision at that time. But Sergeant Leblanc has convinced that it's a tool that will be very useful for the community. And here at the office, we have received comments and even complaints about speeding in certain areas of the municipality. So this speed monitoring sign is mobile. It can be displaced to try and take care of these zones where there is speed. So if you want, we can come back on this later in the fall. So just to be clear, the advisory committee is not ready to make a recommendation. So we will just look into that. If there is nothing else, we will go on to item 12. 12.1, a motion to transfer from the operating fund to the reserve fund. So that is more or less essentially that is the idea. The next motions are two recommendations that were brought forward by the audit committee following the meeting with the auditors. It's where we had a detailed examination of the municipalities' funds. Anybody wish to make the motion? Deputy Warden Pache, I move that the Council for the Municipality of District of Clare transfer $675,080 from annual operating surplus for the 2022-23 fiscal year from the operating fund to the operating reserve. Moved by Deputy Warden Pache, seconded by Councillor Comeau, Conseillère Comeau. All those in favor? Motion carried. 12.2, the motion to approve the financial statements, verified audited statements for 22-23. Any comments on this? Does anybody wish to make the motion? Councillor DeVoe. Thank you, Mr. Warden. I move that the Council for the Municipality of the District of Clare approve the audited financial statements for 22-23 for the Municipality of the District of Clare as prepared by Grant Thornton, LLP. Moved by Councillor DeVoe, seconded by Councillor Doucette. All those in favor? Against? Motion carried. 12.3, motion to award a tender for the supply, if I can say it, for the supply and installation of heat pumps at the cultural hub. In our budget for capital projects this year, we had allowed $30,000 for the installation of heat pumps at the cultural hub to make the heating system more efficient and also reduce the consumption of oil and to make the space more comfortable for our renters. Based on the discussions that we had with Nova Scotia Efficiency at the time, we were told that the cost of the work would be $30,000 for the installations of these heat pumps. Unfortunately, the evaluation of Nova Scotia efficiency did not account for the fact that we did not have ducts in the building, so that increased the cost. So we made a tender call. We had a tender from Acadian Refrigeration, and they proposed essentially two phases to the project. On the main floor, we would have 4 mini split for a total of $16,398. That would take care of all the first floor. At the second floor, where CFA and the EMO office, we are looking at something a bit bigger. Essentially, we would put it in the attic with ductwork to heat the second floor. So we're looking at $38,300 for a total of $54,699. That being said, Nova Scotia Efficiency confirmed that we were pre-approved for a rebate of $14,224. So the net amount for the municipality is $40,475. Essentially $10,000 more than we had budgeted at the beginning. It is the recommendation of the staff and myself. The work we estimate it's necessary. It will not be cheaper in the following months or years, so it will reduce our heating consumption. There will be a bit of money saved there, and also it will increase the comfort of our renters in the summer and the winter. In the summer, it is hot because there is no circulation of air. So it is my recommendation that we proceed with the tender to Acadian Refrigeration for the amount of $54,699 plus HST, and we have confirmed that this project is eligible for the gas tax fund. So the funds for this project will come from that amount. Question or clarification on this item? If not, anybody wish to make the motion? Councillor DeVoe?
Thank you. I move that the Council for the Municipality of the District of Clare accept the proposal from Acadian Refrigeration Limited for the supply and installation of heat pumps at the Cultural Hub in the amount of $54,699 plus HST, and that these funds be taken from the Municipalities Canada Community Building Fund Reserve. Proposed by Councillor DeVoe, seconded by Conseillère Comeau. All those in favour? Motion carried. 12.4 motion to accept proposal for the project management services to Sunset Road Sewer Extension. Thank you. The financing for this extension for the Sunset Road Sewer is split by the 3 levels of government, and one of the conditions of financing that we received is that we just hire a firm to manage the projects. Not that we don't have the capacity to do it. It's one of the conditions of financing from this program, that it be a program of 1 million or 500 million. The condition is always there. So we launched a tender with a limit date. Date is August 22. We received 7 submissions. There was a lot of interest in the project. After evaluating the submissions, the recommendation that we proceed with the Grey Cardinal Management Inc. for the amount of $31,524 plus HST. It was well aligned with what we had budgeted for this item. It was the low bid amongst the 7 ones, and it's a company that we have already dealt with. So it's my recommendation that we proceed with this, award this tender. Are there questions or comments on this one? Is somebody ready to make the motion? Councillor Erkabo? I move that the Council for the Municipality of the District of Clare accept the proposal from Grey Cardinal Management Inc. for project management services for the Sunset Road sewer extension in the amount of $31,524 plus HST, and that these funds be taken from the municipality's capital reserve. Proposed by Councillor Erkamo and seconded by Deputy Warden Potier. All those in favor, motion carried. 12.5 motion. No. Engineering services for Sunset Road sewer extension. This is 12.5. This is it's still for the same project that we just discussed on Sunset Road, the extension of the sewer system. It is engineering services to do the design of the system and prepare the documents necessary for to manage the construction of this project. The firm that we recommend for this project, we have already worked, sometimes with them for pre-design work, and with this development that will follow that on this road with the same company is EXP for engineering. Their amount is 80,000 plus HSC. And this doesn't seem long, but the price can climb very fast on this type of project. So we're talking of 1.6 or 1.7 million for this whole project. EXP is a company that's known for engineering services that we have previously worked with on different projects. For example, the John Thibodeau Road, when we extended the sewage to Riverside. So it's my recommendation that we accept this services. Questions or clarification on this one? If not, somebody is ready to make the Deputy Warden Potier. I move that the Council for the Municipality of the District of Clare accept the proposal from EXP for engineering services for the Sunset Road sewer extension in the amount of $80,000 plus HST, and that these funds be taken from the municipality's capital reserve. Proposed by Deputy Warden Potier and seconded by Councillor Deveau. All those in favour? Against, motion carried. 12.6, a motion to write a letter of support to the Société Nationale de l'Acadie, SNA. When we met in last month with the consulate, French consulate, and the SNA, before concluding the meeting, the members of the SNA advise us that they are trying to set up a campaign to counter the decision by the Heritage Canada's recent decision that for reasons that are purely financial, I guess, and try to manage their projects. Heritage Canada have decided to abolish or reduce the amounts of Canada fees. This was given at $500,000 to the SNA to celebrate the national feast of the Acadians, the SNA. I was looking $250,000 to do a big show. The other $250,000 was distributed to Acadian and Francophone communities across the country to help finance their festivities. This financing has been cut, and to the SNA and to our communities, it's certainly not a good thing, especially if we consider that in other provinces, other regions of the country, in Quebec, for example, the Saint-Jean-Baptiste feast the financing for federal is permanent. That it has not been touched, not for a reason or another. The financing for the Acadians is not permanent and has been abolished. So the SNA is trying to set up a campaign to encourage strongly the department to reevaluate its decision and to reestablish this amount and make it available to communities. So when we met, they just asked us for a letter from the community to to encourage them to enforce their requests. So it's my recommendation that we produce such a letter. Questions or comments on this one? Somebody ready to make the motion? Councillor DeVoe? I move that the Council for the Municipality of the District of Clare send a letter to the Minister of Canadian Heritage requesting it permanently reinstate the Celebrate Canada Fund of $500,000 in support of National Acadian Day and Acadian events across the country. Proposed by Councillor DeVoe, seconded by Councillor Doucet. All those in favour? Against? Motion carried.
12.7, a motion to adopt a tax write-off, BID 30039101. Yes, this is essentially a house in Grosecock who was demolished, but after the demolition, the taxes were continuing to accrue. So they are trying to sell the land. So essentially they are asking that we write off this amount because it was accumulated for a period of time after the house did not exist. So they are asking for a write-off at the amount of $434.73. Questions or comments on this one? Councillor Doucet? I move that the Council for the Municipality of the District of Clare write off taxes for PID 30039101 at the amount of $434.73. Moved by Councillor Doucet, seconded by Councillor DeVoe. All those in favor? Against? Motion is carried. 12.8, a motion to approve a financial request for the Bangor Museum. The Mill Bangor Museum asked us for an additional amount of $10,000 in funding. If you remember this year, we had given them $10,000 under grants for organizations as a grant based on an estimate that they had received for the necessary work. After this amount of $10,000, the amount submitted but as a quote was not what they were looking for. It was more complicated. It was needed more time and effort, so it was more expensive. So the group came back to see us to see if we would consider contributing an extra $10,000. The discussion was very positive around the table here. We saw last week also that with the turnout that they had at their fundraising, it is a project that is very supported by the community. So it would be my recommendation that we proceed with the $10,000 additional. With your permission and motion tonight, we can take it from grants to organizations. The budget, there is a bit of money left in that amount, and that, so this would bring us over what we budgeted, but we still have the funds to proceed with this. So it is my recommendation that we proceed with the second $10,000 amount. Questions or comments? Councillor Comeau? I move that the Council for the Municipality of the District of Clare award an additional $10,000 to the Bangor Development Commission for needed repairs to the dam, and that these funds be taken from the municipality's 23-24 grant to organizations funding. Moved by Councillor Camo, seconded by Councillor DeVoe. All those in favor? Against? Motion is carried. 12.9, a motion to accept a motion for heat pump to the council chambers. As you know, our audiovisual system does not work anymore. We had to have it replaced. It was a big investment to replace all that equipment. The main reason why we had to replace it is because the equipment became too hot. There was no ventilation in this room. So we want to protect this investment for the following years by installing equipment in this room. So we made the decision to do it because we had the suppliers here to install the equipment. So it was within my delegating authority, because we are looking at the capital of the municipality. I'd like to have the support of the council from the members. So it is again Acadian Refrigeration for the amount of $4,982 plus HST. It's a bit more expensive than the heat pumps that we have for the cultural hub. The reason is because a low MB kit, which helps to better control the temperature in the room when the heat pump closes down and starts, etc. So we have a better control on the temperature in this room. So again, it is in the interest of protecting our equipment in this new acquisition. I hope you will, because the pump has been installed. If you want to make the motion to accept the recommendation for Acadian Refrigeration Limited at the amount of $4,982 plus HST. So it's not all, it's not also to present the equipment, but also the people who work inside. Have any questions or comments on this? I move that the council for the municipality of the District of Clare accept the proposal from Acadian Refrigeration Limited for the supply and installation of a heat pump in the council chambers in the amount of $492 plus HST, and that these funds be taken from the municipality's capital reserve. Moved by Conseillère Comeau, seconded by Councillor Comeau. All those in favor? Against? Motion carried.
Yeah.
12.10, motion to accept a motion of videography for the Grand Fondo Bay Sainte-Marie. We had a tender call for the videography system for the Grand Fondo. The people interested had until August 18th to submit a tender. We had 10 companies who tendered, which is a good thing. There was a lot of interest in the project, but at the end of the day, it is the recommendation of the staff and myself to accept the submission of ghost junk at the amount of $6,000 plus HST. Say they were the low bidders on the project. So essentially, I'm looking for a motion from council to accept their tender. Questions or comments on this item? Councillor DeVoe? I will make the motion. I move that the council for the municipality of the District of Clare accept the proposal from Ghost Junk Studios for videography for the 2023 Grand Fondo Bay Sainte-Marie in the amount of $6,000 plus HST. Moved by Councillor DeVoe, seconded by Councillor Comeau. All those in favor? Against? Motion is carried. Are you ready to continue, or do you want a small break? 12.11, a motion to accept a proposal for research for interpretive panels. If you allow 12.11, 12.2, and 12 and 11.13 are all the same project. It is the project with Argyle regarding the installation and the modernization of 40 interpretive panels in the community, and that is in preparation for the Acadian Congress in 2024. So the first motion, 12.11, is a motion to accept a proposal to do the research for information that will appear on those panels. We had a tender call for that one. We only had one company who tendered. It was Denis Sonia Design. The amount was $14,750 plus HST, which was within what we budgeted for that work. Denis Sonia Design is something we deal with often regarding research and projects like this. This is one of their strengths. So it is my recommendation to the committee who takes care of this projects that we accept this tender of $14,750 plus HST. Questions or comments on this? Anybody wish to make the motion? Councillor Doucette? I move that the Council for the Municipality of the District of Clare accept a proposal from Denis Sonia Design for the research of interpretive panels as part of the tourism development for Clare and Argyle project in the amount of $14,750 plus HST. Moved by Councillor Doucette, seconded by Deputy Warden Pache. All those in favor? Against? Motion is carried.
12.2, motion to research for the design of interpretive panels. Here again, same project. We launched tenders, and we received submissions of 7 firms that were interested to do this part of the project. This, after we evaluated the submissions, the recommendation that we proceed with those of that of Mr. Chris Abbott to the amount of $36,859. It's somebody who is known to us and has done more work with Argyle, but is very well known, and it is our recommendation that we go with his submission. Questions or comments, Councillor Jose Jacobo? I move that the Council for the Municipality of the District of Clare accept the proposal from Chris Abbott for the design of interpretive panels as part of the Clare and Argyle Acadian Tourism Development Project in the amount of $36,859. Proposed by Councillor Comeau and seconded by Councillor Deveau. All those in favour? Against, motion carried. 12.3, a motion to accept the proposal for filming and production of video vignettes. So this is part, when you said the modernization of these panels, we will introduce some QR codes that will link to, if you have a smartphone or a tablet, that you can scan this QR code, and which will bring you to give you more information on video formats, a lot more information than what is available on the panel itself. The intention is to have access of small vignettes of videos that have been filmed in the region to inform visitors who are there on place. So here too we have asked, we received 18 companies that submitted the for production of these vignettes, and after evaluating these 18 tender reports, it is our recommendation and myself that we accept those of Greenlight Studios for the amount of 32,000 plus HST. Greenlight Studios is a company, a local company that is also well known to us, and they had the low bid on this tender. The amount that was proposed to us is within the budget that we had established for this project. It is our recommendation that we proceed with Greenlight Studios. Questions or comments on this one? I move that the Council for the Municipality of the District of Clare accept the proposal from Greenlight Studios Limited for filming and production of video vignettes as part of the Clare and Argyll Acadian Tourism Development Project in the amount of 32,000 plus HST. Proposed by Conseiller Como, seconded by Deputy Warden Potier. All those in favour? Against? Motion carried. 1214 motion to award a tender for biosolid disposal of the Metegan wastewater treatment plant. This wastewater treatment plant uses geotubes. All biosolid disposal are pumped into this geotube. It's quite big, and at a certain point in time they fill up, and we have to get rid of them. So the plan, and we discussed this with the Department of Environment of the Nova Scotia Environment, so that we decided to put this in our, we put some sawdust, and because we can then fix it with our, to do this, we must treat it, and there is a cost associated with this. So we did an invitational tender to do this. We asked 3 companies to submit, and after evaluating their submissions, it is our recommendation that we proceed with the submission of Specific Resources Inc. for the disposal of biosolids to the amount of $5,100 plus HST. Just for information of council, this tube is not something that we will fill and empty each year. It's something that we might have to do every 3, 4, or 5 years. It is the first time that we do this. It is not something that we'll do year after year. The council, we hope to do it for every 4 or 5 years. Questions or comments on this item? Councillor DeVoe. Thank you. I move that the Council for the Municipality of the District of Clare accept the proposal from Spec Resources Inc. for the disposal of biosolids in the amount of $5,100 plus HST. Proposed by Councillor DeVoe, seconded by Councillor Doucette. All those in favour? Against? Motion carried. 12.5, motion to write a letter of support to the Clare Bluegrass Association. Thank you. The Clare Bluegrass Association has approached us to a letter to help them get funding for they're looking for funds to help costs associated with portable toilets for their site in Metegan, and as well as a 6-person golf cart to transport people who have disabilities or who are it is a good project. It seems to be eligible for the criteria we have for certain programs of the community development. To refine their request before they send it out, but one of the crises of New Horizons is a letter of support from the municipality to just show that there is interest towards their project. So I am of the opinion that it's a good project, and if we can help them to have access of this financing, it is for a good cause. And the event of this year was from what I saw, was quite a success. There was a lot of people who went, and the golf cart would be something good for the organizations to transport people who are aged or who have problems of mobility. Are there questions or comments on this? Councillor Como. I move that the Council for the Municipality of the District of Clare send a letter to the Clare Bluegrass Association in support of their application to the New Horizons for Seniors program. Proposed by Councillor Como, seconded by Councillor Deval. Those in favour? Against? Motion carried.
12.16, motion to reallocate funding for La Boule Acadienne Pétanque. Yes, earlier this year we had granted a funding of $1,929 to the Boule Acadienne. This was to reorganize their field, which is in our park in Bellevaux Cove at the Marie du Gars. So that being said, the group, instead of taking the money and hiring somebody to do the park, the group did the work quite themselves. They had contributions in neighbors. They did not have to spend $1,529. So this week we were contacted to see if we could reallocate that amount to purchase balls that they could use inside in order to extend the season, and that they can play year-round inside. We are talking here about 10 kits of pétanque balls to be held by to be used by different groups from all ages, and also to extend the season. I know that they are communicating with the high school. There are plans with the students of the high school. Raymond Jaune also sent me an email today to say that they are in contact with the Villa Acadienne to see if they can include that in their recreation activities, to go play pétanque there. And they are equipped for seniors. So I think this is a good way to use these funds, and I make the recommendation. Questions or comments on this? Councillor Doucette? I will make the motion. I move that the Council for the Municipality of the District of Clare allow the Club de Pétanque La Boule Acadienne to allocate the previously granted $1,529 in municipal funding towards the purchase of indoor bocce ball equipment. Moved by Councillor Doucette, seconded by Councillor DeVoe. All those in favor? Against? Motion is carried. It's getting down. 12.15, send a letter to Honorable Tory Rushton, Smugglers Cove Provincial Park. This is following the letter that we received from the minister that we saw in correspondence tonight. Our tourism manager and myself, we met with representatives of the department to discuss future plans for the Smugglers Cove regarding the stairs going down to the shore, but also other items that we had identified in our public space plan. We had identified different projects that would benefit the Smugglers Cove, that to see if there would be interest on behalf of the department to proceed with these works. They all told us that they said they like what is being proposed, but when it comes the time to go forward, it is always the time, the fact that they have no resources and not the funds. But in consultation with them, it is clear that there is nothing to be held on these sites before the CMA next year, and I can say for the following years. I think everybody around the table here, we all agree that there is a lot of potential associated with that park, but that potential is not being accomplished. So we were looking at the comments and questions and emails, telephones that we received from the public, that there is a lot of interest in that park. They want to be able to go down to the shore and to go in the cave. It was something that's traditional. It's been going on for years, but there is a lot of people who not in agreement with the department's decision. But also for myself, it is a question of public security. If there is those steps are not, people are still going down, and it'll be not long before somebody falls. So last week we discussed the possibility of making our request to the province to essentially to release the park or to give us the park. We have plans. We have documented, detailed plans that we want to go forward with. There's a lot of potential there. It would be managed by the community. And as I said, based on our discussions with Larry and the province, it is evident that they have no intention of going forward with that in the near future. So for the management of the park itself, I think it's something we can do easily. It will not be an inexpensive cost. If that was the case, I wouldn't present you this option tonight. But that being said, based on our discussions at the beginning 2 weeks ago, the recommendation would be to send a letter to the minister and to respectfully propose that the province release the park to us for the community and the potential of the park to help us in the future endeavors for the quality of our residents. So if you agree, I need a motion to essentially send a letter to the minister to release the park to us, and we'll see where it goes. Questions or comments on that? As a resident from the part of Metegan, it doesn't matter where we go. We are questioning what will happen to the park. We go to the stores, to the gas station, and they know that we are from there. Nadine and myself, we are close to that. And these are questions that happen all the time. So for that reason, I'm ready to make the motion. I move that the Council for the Municipality of the District of Clare send a letter to the Honourable Tory Rushton, Minister of Natural Resources and Renewables, respectfully requesting the divestiture of Smuggler's Cove Provincial Park from the province of Nova Scotia to the Municipality of Clare. Moved by Deputy Warden Fache, seconded by Conseiller Comeau. All those in favour? Against? I think it would be a good addition to our municipal parks. 12.18, we are at the last part. Request to approve sponsorship request for the Acadian Federation. You all received in your documents an email from Jules Chiasson, the new director of the Acadian Federation. Essentially, it's a request for sponsorship to support, to aid, to help on the cost of the Équipe Acadie team. It is a team of people from the province who will meet in Halifax, and they want to do similar projects in the future. Équipe Acadie is an initiative of the fund, but it has the goal of allowing the Acadian communities to meet with the ministers and MLAs from the province, and also to meet the Francophone and Acadian communities among themselves. So we see a lot of value in that. It is something that was done in the past from time to time. At the Acadian conference with the NSFM, there was an evening sponsored by CDNA that was for the Acadian communities to meet the ministers and deputy ministers, and in the last years they did not do that. But I see a lot of value in this. I think the Federation is giving us a lot of service as a spokesperson for the Acadian population of Nova Scotia. And if what they are asking in terms of funding is not much, so I say for $2,000, in recognition of what they are bringing us for service and possibly what we could go by meeting the ministers and deputy ministers, I think it's an investment that we should consider. So my recommendation would be to approve the request at the amount of $2,000 for the Acadian team. Do you have any questions or comments on this item? If not, does anybody wish to make the motion? Councillor DeVos? Thank you. I presented myself often at those meetings at NSFM, and I think it is very important. We learn a lot of things and we see things. I'd like to make the motion. I move that the Council for the Municipality of the District of Clare approve the sponsorship request from the Fédération Acadienne in the amount of $2,000 in support of Équipe Acadie networking event. Moved by Councillor DeVos, seconded by Councillor Como. All those in favor? Against? Motion is carried. So that concludes item 12. We are up to 13, the closed sessions. We have two items. In camera, we have 13.1 contract negotiations and 13.2 personnel matters. So that being said, before I ask for a motion, I'd like to say to the people on the air is that the next meeting will be Wednesday, October 18th. That being said, we need a motion to go in camera. Moved by Councillor Doucette, seconded by Councillor Como. All those in favor? Against? Motion is carried. And good evening, everyone.